सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। सुखं नित्यं सत्प्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृग्यतुलिर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्त वेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं न मत्तोऽन्यत् इति मे निश्चितामतिः। Page 60, third paragraph, second line. सर्वत्र व्याप्य वर्तमानम् अखण्ड चैतन्यम् सामान्यम् अन्तःकरणवृत्त्यारूढ चैतन्यम् विशेषात्मकमिति विवेकः अरण्यां व्याप्य वर्तमानोऽग्निः सामान्यः सः अनभिव्यक्तत्वात् न अन्धकारविरोधी सः एव काष्ठमथनेन उद्भूतरूपः अभिव्यक्तः दीपवर्त्यारोपितः विशेषात्मकः सन् अन्धकारविरोधी भवति। In this portion, Nischal dealing with the topic of those 5 factors for adhyasa samagri. After talking about 4 factors, now he comes to the 5th factor. Adhyasa can happen when there is a partial knowledge. Even though Atma is Swarupa Chaitanyam, still Ajnanam is possible in Atma with regard to Atma. Because of that, Adhyasa happens. That Ajnanam is partial knowledge. Pakshika Jnanam, partial knowledge. For that he is talking about Samanya Chaitanyam and Vishishta Chaitanyam. Samanya Chaitanyam means general consciousness. Vishishta Chaitanyam means reflected consciousness. So this reflected consciousness alone he is presenting in very, very subtle form in these portions. We have to see that he has given one example also, that Arani Drishtanta he gave. Aranyam, I said in the last class, the forest fire. Here in this context, Aranya means we can take Arani wood. Aranya means Saptami, you can take in that arani wood, one type of wood. In every wood there is fire. The arani wood is especially used for kindling the fire. That example he gives for Samanya Chaitanya. Because why fire, darkness examples, light example we are used. Ignorance is considered as darkness. Ignorance is considered as darkness. Chaitanyam Brahma is considered as light. So this light like consciousness. Consciousness is not light, but light like consciousness. So because of that only he is using that example. Arani Drishtanta. Arani Agnihi. Two words we have to note. All are technical terms. We saw these terms previously also. Now also we have to hear once again Samanya Chaitanyam and Visishta Chaitanyam. Samanya Chaitanyam is called general consciousness. Visishta Chaitanya means reflected consciousness. How he presents here? He said that Antakarana Vrutyaruಢa Chaitanyam Visheshatmakam iti. Here Visheshatmakam means Vishishta Chaitanyam. Enclosed consciousness. This Arudha word is there. Arudha means associated with. Sahita ityartha. Arudha means associated with. Chaitanyam Antakarana Vritti Arudha Chaitanyam. Third line I am saying. Akhanda Chaitanyam Samanyam. All pervading Chaitanyam is Samanya Chaitanya. Antakarana Vritti Avachinna Chaitanya. When that Chaitanyam is in Antakaranam as reflected consciousness. Antakarana Vritti Arudha. Vritti means thought. Chaitanyam associated with thought. Chaitanyam associated or enclosed. Enclosed Chaitanyam. Or you can say reflected Chaitanyam. This also Arudha also he presents in two ways. Avachinna Chaitanyam, Pratibimba Chaitanyam. That's called Avachedavada and Pratibimbavada. Two vadas are there. Two arguments are there regarding this. So general consciousness is one. It is always there, all pervading. Akhanda Chaitanya. This Vritti Arudha means that Chaitanyam associated with our thought is called Visheshatmakam iti Vivekaha. This is the way we have to understand. We discriminate between Samanya Chaitanyam and Vishesha Chaitanyam. In this Vishesha Chaitanyam or Visishta Chaitanyam, Vritti Arudha, associated Vritti. Here also there are two types, Avachedavada and Pratibimbavada. He is going to explain later very elaborately. Now briefly he gives here this paragraph Avachedavada. The next page what is Abhasavada, briefly he tells here. Again 6th chapter we are going to see elaborately, in middle also it comes. And we saw previously also the same topic at very 40th page some topic. There we saw very long ago. Okay? We saw that. But we need not go for that. Now we can just understand simple only. Aranyam Vyapya. This Visishta Chaitanyam, Samanya Chaitanyam, if you want to understand, let us see this Aranyam Vyapya. That fire is pervading that Arani wood. Arani wood. Aranya means in that Arani wood. Arani Vyapya. Vartamanaha Agnihi Samanyaha. What type of Agni that is? Saha anabhivyaktaha, which is not visible, not manifested. Anabhivyaktaha. Anabhivyaktatvat na andhakara virodhi. It cannot destroy darkness. It cannot destroy darkness. The fire is there in that wood. Fire is there in that wood. Otherwise, when you kindle that wood, why fire is coming from that? Fire is not there, it would have not come. Kashtam, the firewood. That means the fire is there in invisible form. Anabhivyaktatvat. It is not kindled, therefore it cannot destroy the darkness. It is not andhakara virodhi. So the darkness continues. If light is not kindled, darkness continues. This is called Samanya Agni. What about Visishta Agni? He says, Saha eva, the same arani. Wood, Kashtam means arani. Anena, Kashta Mathanena. Once you churn, rub the two wood pieces. If you rub them, mathanena udbhuta rupaha abhivyaktaha. What happens? That fire udbhutaha abhivyakti bhavati. With that fire, you put some cotton there and you take it near. Here I said forest fire, it spreads, I said. Light comes, darkness removes. But author gives here Deepa Vartya Aropitaha. Once the two wood pieces you rub and put some cotton there and it catch fire. With that cotton you can bring, and Varti means wick, where there is a lamp, oil is there, wick is there, oil holder is there. You bring this cotton piece which has got fire, you kindle the wick. Varti means wick. Deepa Varti means the wick in the lamp. It is there, you kindle that. Once you kindle it, Deepa Vartya Aropita. This light is used for that kindling the lamp. What it does? Deepa Varti Aropitaha Viseshatmakaha. That fire is Abhivyakta Agnihi, Vishishta Agni. What it does? Saha Andhakara Virodhi Bhavati. Andhakara Virodhi means it is an enemy to darkness. The language is like that. Enemy to darkness means what? This kindled light, lamp light, removes darkness. Once the light comes, darkness goes away. Therefore, light is enemy of darkness. Andhakara virodhi bhavati. What light removes darkness? The light which is Agni, which is in the firewood, or which is appearing, manifesting as lamp light here, Deepam, which is kindled. Which one is removing the darkness? Samanya Agni or Vishishta Agni? Vishishta Agni. This alone is Andhakara Virodhi. But Samanya Agni is not Andhakara Virodhi. It cannot remove darkness. You have understood example. Similarly, we want to take to Dashtanta. Up to here we saw in the last class. Now we come to Dashtanta. Evam vyapakam samanyam Brahma chaitanyam avirodhya ajnanasya tadeva chaitanyam Vicharita Vedānta Pramāṇa-janita Sākṣātkāra ब्रह्माकार अंतःकरणवृत्त्यारूढम् ब्रह्माकार अंतःकरणवृत्त्यारूढम् सन्निश्शेषतया अज्ञाननाशहेतुत्वात् तद्विरोधी भवति इत्थं च केवलचैतन्यं न अज्ञानविरोधी किन्तु वृत्त्यारूढं चैतन्यं चैतन्यविशिष्टा वृत्तिर्वा अज्ञानविरोधितया उच्यते। आद्यपक्षे अज्ञाननाशस्य चैतन्यं हेतुः वृत्तिसहकारिणी द्वितीये तु तन्नाशे वृत्तिः साक्षात् हेतुः चैतन्यं साधकम् इदं तु अवच्छेदवादरीत्या उक्तम्। After giving the example evam, evam means in this manner, vyapakam samanyam brahma chaitanyam. Samanyam brahma chaitanyam is general consciousness, which is vyapakam, all pervading general consciousness. Vyapakam, Samanyam, general, all pervading, general, Brahma Chaitanyam, consciousness, Avirodhi, Api Ajnanasya. It is not Virodhi for Ajnanam. Ajnanam continues, even Samanya Chaitanyam, Swarupa Chaitanyam continues, Ajnanam also can continue, coexist. Just as Samanya Agni and Andhakara can coexist, that Agni which was in the fire before kindling, darkness was there. Similarly, Samanya Chaitanyam, Samanya Agnivat, and darkness, ignorance is like darkness, continues, they coexist. When this ignorance can go, which is considered as darkness, when this ignorance can go, he says, Tadeva Chaitanyam Vicharita Vedānta Pramāna Janita Sakshatkara. There is Mathanam in Drishtanta. Here what Mathanam churning na? Vedānta Vakya, Mahavakya. Once you listen Vedānta Mahavakya, only Vedānta scriptures, not any other text. That's why he used that word Vedānta. Upanishadic teaching, Mahavakya teaching, Mahavakya Pramāna Janita, that Upanishad Pramāna, Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Mahavakya Janita. You listen from the teacher, you do inquiry, Bhagatyaga Lakshana, you have to do, and Prakriyas, Drikdrishya Viveka Prakriya you have to use, Panchakosha Vilakshana Prakriya you have to use, Sririratraya, Avasthatraya, all these Prakriyas you have to use, and do Tatparya Lingam, Upakrama, Upasamhara, Abhyaso, Purvata Phalam. All this is how to hear from the teacher. 10 Upanishads time, I explained what are all Tatparya Lingam. If you listen all Upanishads, you can understand. Those all called Pramana Janita, Vedānta, Vicharita means having done threadbare analysis. Threadbare analysis means listening from the teacher for a length of time, systematically. For a student for whom Vedanta study is the top priority. That is called Vicharita. Vedānta, Vicharita, Pramana Janita. Vicharita Vedānta. Vedānta is there in the book, but I have to do Vichara. I cannot do Vichara myself. I have to go to the teacher who is teaching. So the Vedanta study is the top priority for that student. All other are secondary. That is real analysis. So listening to Shastra. What comes Janita, what rise na? Sakshatkara Atma Akhanda Brahmakara Antakarana Vrityarudham San. So what happens? Aham Brahmasmi Vritti rise in the mind. Aham Brahmasmi Vritti Jnanam comes. That is called Sakshatkara. That means Aparoksha Jnanam. Sakshatkara Atma Akhanda Atma Brahmakara. So Akhanda Atma means indivisible Atma, which is Brahmakaram. Brahmakaram means Sat Chit Ananda Rupa Swarupam Atma Ahamasmi. Where Antakarana Vrityarudham, in your own mind, Antakarana Vritti, in that thought you have got so many thoughts. Once you see the object, that knowledge you get. If you see the fan, fan knowledge you get. If you see the house, house knowledge you get. Like that, whenever you see one object, you are getting that thought, that knowledge. Once you see this ghata vritti, ghata jnanam. You look at the ghata, pot thought comes. Once the pot thought comes, immediately pot knowledge has come in artham. Ghata vritti, ghata jnanam. What is the pramanam? Ice. You are using the ice, ghata vritti comes, and that ghata vritti converted into ghata jnanam. Like that, Vicharita Pramana. When you listen to the Shastra Mahavakya from the teacher, Sat Chit Atma Tatu Tvam Asi. Sat Chit Atma Tatu Tvam Asi. 9 times the Guru repeats. Guru is explaining in with Tatparya Lingam. You go on listening. That Atma Vritti takes place here in the mind. Antakarana. Vritti Arudham. So Arudham means what? Associated with. That Vritti in that mind, Jnanam rise. What Jnanam? Atma Jnanam. Pramanam is what? Mahavakyam. So Pramana Janita, Vicharita, Vedānta, Pramana Janita, Sakshatkara. Sakshatkara means Aparoksha Jnanam. Sakshatkara means people translate it as experience. So experience means Anubhava. This experience translation, Anubhava translation always misleading. Here experience means understanding. Anubhava also called Sakshatkara. Sakshatkara means understanding. That is the meaning. Aparoksha Jnanam. Aparoksha Jnanam, another name is Anubhava Jnanam. Anubhava Jnanam, another name is Sakshatkara. All these are synonyms. Sakshatkara, Atma Akhanda Brahmakara. What do you mean by understanding Sakshatkara? Akhanda Atma. Atma Akhanda means indivisible Atma, the self. The self which is uniform, indivisible. What is that indivisible Atma? Brahmakara. It is of the nature of Brahma Chaitanyam. You have to understand what is Brahman nature. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Existence, consciousness, infinite, principle, Brahmakara. Antahkarana Vrittyaruಢam. That vritti takes place in Antahkaranam. Aruಢam san. Nisheshataya. Totally. Ajnana nasha hetutvat. That removes your ajnanam. What ajnanam? Self-ignorance. Atma ajnanam. Atma ajnanam is removed for good. I was thinking I am the body, I am the mind, I am the subtle body, I am the gross body. The wrong notion was there. Once you listen to Mahavakya, that ajnanam goes, you replace that thought by aham brahma asmi. Aham dehaha na asmi. I am not the body. I am the Atma, Brahma Chaitanyam. That jnanam, ajnana nasha hetuhu. It removes self-ignorance. Atma jnana. I am not anatma shariram, dehaha or manas. I am Atma, the consciousness. In me, all bodies are coming, all minds are floating. In me, the Atma. That jnanam you get. Hetutvad tad virodhi bhavati. Tad virodhi means ajnana virodhi bhavati. Atma ajnana virodhi bhavati. What is that vritti jnanam? What vritti? Aham brahmasmi vritti jnanam. Where it takes place? Antahkaranam. So consciousness plus vritti, mixture. Two are required to get this jnanam. Chaitanyam associated with vritti. That's why vrittyaruಢa chaitanyam visishta chaitanyam. So vrittyaruಢa chaitanya, just as the kindled deepam destroys darkness, samanya chaitanyam OC is vritti aruಢam, associated with vritti, thought. And in that thought, aham brahmasmi, when the mind is associated with the pramanam, mahavakya, brahmakara vritti takes place. Aham brahmasmi. Once aham brahmasmi comes, atma ajnanam gone. Darkness like ajnanam, because of this consciousness associated with this vritti. That vritti, consciousness plus mixture destroys Atma Ajnanam. So, Atma Ajnanam can be removed. Visishta Chaitanyam Dwara Atma Ajnanam can be removed, not by Samanya Chaitanyam. Purvapakshi is talking, Atma Chaitanyam is like light. How Ajnanam, darkness like ajnanam can coexist, it can exist. Because there is no problem, just as darkness and samanya agni exist or not, like that. So darkness goes by only visishta agni. Similarly, visishta chaitanyam, vritti aruಢa chaitanyam only destroys this ignorance, atma ajnana. Understand? That is very, very subtle observation. Ajnana nasha hetutvad ajnana virodhi bhavati. Tad virodhi means ajnana virodhi bhavati. Itham. In this manner, kevala chaitanyam na ajnana virodhi. Pure consciousness cannot destroy ignorance. Kevala Chaitanya means pure consciousness. Shuddha Chaitanya. Shuddha Chaitanyam cannot destroy ignorance. Kintu Vrityarudha Chaitanyam Chaitanya Vishishta Vrittihi Vrittirva Ajnana Virodhi Iti Uchyate. If you want to understand this line, I have to give an example. Pure electricity can remove the darkness. Pure electricity cannot remove the darkness in the room. Can bulb alone can remove the darkness? Only bulb is there. You bought the bulb from the shop and asked the bulb, kindle that, give the light in that hall. And pure bulb can give light, or can it remove darkness? No. Pure electricity cannot remove darkness. Pure bulb also cannot remove darkness. Then what removes darkness? Mixture. Electricity plus bulb. Mixture alone can remove darkness. However much powerful electricity, electricity cannot give air. Electricity plus fan. Fan alone cannot give light, air. When I entered the room, one bulb is not burning. Two bulbs are not burning. What happened? Bulb is there, why light is not there? Why prakasha is not coming? She has to put on switch on. Then she switch on, it connects to the electricity. Practical example, today only. Every time she puts, for me, as a teaching aid, it is useful today. Do this bulb and that bulb, both are not giving light. What happened? Immediately she rushed to switch on. Why not? Your only bulb can give light. It cannot. Only electricity also, remove all fans and bulbs. Keep electricity is there, junction box, the switches are there. You put switch on, no air comes without fan. How many fans are there here? You see in this room? How many fans are there? 10 fans are there. 10 now. So many fans are there. Bulbs are there. How many tubelights are there, you see? All tubelights alone cannot give light. Fans alone cannot give wind with electricity. But electricity alone, that also cannot do. Both mixture together. Then who is giving a light, who is giving wind? And what you say? Both are together giving light and air. Both means electricity plus fan, electricity plus bulb. It is a simple udaharana. Same thing you have to apply to any knowledge. Any knowledge. No knowledge is possible, either physics knowledge or chemistry knowledge or music knowledge, dance knowledge, any knowledge for that matter, vritti plus consciousness, thought plus consciousness. Kevala vritti cannot give knowledge. Kevala vritti cannot destroy ignorance. Kevala chaitanyam, consciousness also, pure consciousness cannot destroy ignorance. Then what remove ignorance? Vrityarudha chaitanyam. Vrityarudha chaitanyam means what? Consciousness plus thought. Put together, they are the hetu for the removal of ignorance. That is what he says. Itham kevala chaitanyam na ajnana virodhi. Pure consciousness cannot remove ignorance. Kintu vrityarudha chaitanyam. That chaitanyam which is associated with, vrityarudha means associated with thought. That thought. If I am aware of this part consciousness and part thought. Part consciousness plus part thought is equal to part knowledge. Clip consciousness, clip thought is called clip knowledge. Like that, every knowledge is a mixture. To think this much, we don't have time, that's all. We are so busy. Shastra is talking, what busy. Understand how the mechanism is going on here. Simple thing, we are making it so complex because we are not showing our attention towards this. How interesting it is. Are we studying anything else, something outside subjects? The entire personality, your body, your mind, your thoughts, your own existence, about that we are studying. How great it is. Kevala Chaitanyam na Ajnana Virodhi. Kevala Vritti also na Ajnana Virodhi. Vrittyaruudha Chaitanyam eva. That Vritti and consciousness, when they associate each other, that what happened? Ajnana Virodhi. Ajnanam goes in. Not only self-ajnanam, any ajnanam. What to talk of self-knowledge? If you study physics book, you get physics knowledge. If you study chemistry book, chemistry ignorance goes away, chemistry knowledge comes. If you study Upaniṣads, where Atma Vichara is given, Mahavakya is given, regarding Atma, Ajnanam, you will come out of. Understand? That is why this is also a class, a text, this is also a knowledge. But what is the difference now? Advaita Aparavidya, this is Paravidya. Even after studying that, your limitations will not go away, your insecurity will not go, however much you study Aparavidya. But this study, Paravidya, removes fear, ignorance, insecurity, it removes limitations, it removes Vyadhi, Jara, Marana, Bhayam. That is the benefit. The great benefit is this, because of this Paravidya, self-knowledge. How that self-knowledge is possible? Vedānta, Vicharita Vedānta Pramāna Janita. Just for knowledge's sake, those books, how much they are spending? How much money they are spending to buy accounts books, economics books? How much money? One book in thousands. Costliest books. To remove that ignorance. Same way we also buy books. What for? For Mahavakya, Pramana required. To remove self-ignorance, which is the most worthy to study Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnana. Therefore he says, Chaitanya Visishta Vritti Vrittirva. Chaitanya Visishta Vrittirva. He does small bifurcation here. Vritti Sahita Chaitanyam or Chaitanya Sahita Vritti. Two presentations. First Avachedavada he gives, then next page Abhasavada. Both are Vritti plus consciousness. But one is enclosed consciousness, another is reflected consciousness. Pratibhimbam, Abhasam. I will tell you how is it. Space is here in the hall. This is called enclosed space. Enclosed space. This is called avachcheda, avachinna akasha. The space which is enclosed in the hall. Avachinna akasha. Avachinna means enclosed, inclusive. Avachinna akasha. Same space, when rain comes, you see lot of water on the floor. and look into that water. You can see the space, akasha, clouds, trees. I see often when rain comes near my house, there is a lot of water stagnation. While walking, if you look into that water, aeroplane appears, trees appear, clouds, blue clouds appear. What is that? Avachinna akasha or pratibimba akasha? Pratibimba akasha. And the reflected space. But in the pot and hall, it is enclosed space. Here there is no reflection of the space. Now understand? Avachinna akasha, enclosed space. Pratibimba akasha is a reflected space. Like that, Atma also, in vritti, two types of vadas are there, arguments. In one Advaita itself, Avachedavada, one argument. What they say, Atma is enclosed in the mind, Antakarana, vritti. Atma is enclosed, Avachinnavada or Avachedavada. Whoever talks about vritti avachinna chaitanyam, they are all called avachedavadis. Vritti avachinna means consciousness is enclosed in antakarana vritti. They are called avachedavadis. Some people talk about everywhere vritti sahitam only, but one person says enclosed. Vritti, thought enclosed consciousness. Another person says that consciousness reflecting in the mind. In the vritti, reflected consciousness. Vritti serves like a medium. In that vritti, consciousness reflects. That is called abhasavada. Reflected consciousness, whoever talks, they are called abhasavadis. All this comes in Panchadasi. Any one of you attended Panchadasi class, you can remember. And Avachedavada, Abhasavada. Now these 4 lines he gives Avachedavada. Then only Abhasavada comes. Now you understood? One space can be enclosed space also. Same space we can call it as reflected space. Reflecting in the waters. This is enclosed space. It is not reflecting here. Like that Chaitanyam also. Vritti is the medium. Thought is the medium. Where thought comes? In the mind. Therefore in Tattva Bodha, do you remember RM2, RC2, reflecting medium to subtle mind, body, and reflected consciousness. RM1, RM2, RM3, RC1, RC2, RC3. In Mandukya also we saw Vishwa Taijasa Prajna, Stula Deha Bhimani, Sukshma Deha Bhimani. All this consciousness one. You can say from enclosed angle also, or you can say from reflected consciousness point also. Okay, the same topic we will see much more elaborately. Now this much is sufficient. Okay, you are recollecting the previous what we have heard, we are seeing now. Look into the portion. Chaitanya Vishishta Itham, 4th line from the bottom. Itham, in this manner, Kevala Chaitanyam na Jnana Virodhi, Kintu Vrityarudha Chaitanyam Vrityarudha Chaitanya Visishta Vrittihi Ajnana Virodhi iti uchyate. Afterwards, Avachedavada means is this. Adyapakshe means first. If you take Avachedavada, Vritti Sahita Chaitanya. Vritti Sahita Chaitanya means consciousness enclosed in the Vritti thought. If you take that first argument, Ajnana Nashasya Chaitanyam Hetuhu Vrittihi. Sahakarini. So vritti is the Sahakar. Vrityavachinna Chaitanyam, that is given here. Vrityavachinna Chaitanyam. Chaitanya, vritti Sahita Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam must be noun. There Chaitanyam is noun. Vritti is an adjective. Vritti Sahakarini Bhavati. So adjective. If you take the Avachedavada, first Paksha, Dvitiyetu Tannashe Vrittihi Sakshad Hetuhu Chaitanyam Sadhakam. So Chaitanyam alone removes ignorance, they say, in Avachedavada, first argument. So Vritti Sahita Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam must be noun and Vritti must be adjective. What is English translation for Vritti Sahita Chaitanyam? Consciousness is the destroyer of self-ignorance. Consciousness is the destroyer of ignorance, which is backed by Vritti. Vritti Sahita Chaitanya means consciousness is the destroyer, because they are giving importance to consciousness. They are magnifying the consciousness. This consciousness is the destroyer of ignorance, which is backed by Vritti. Vritti has got second place. Consciousness is given the primary place. Vitiya Pakshe Tannashaha Vrittihi Chaitanya Sahita Vritti. They take Vitiya Paksha. Chaitanya Sahita Vritti is Ajnana Nashaha Sakshad Hetuhu. So Chaitanya Sahita Vritti, how do you translate this? Vritti is the destroyer of ignorance backed by consciousness. Vritti is the destroyer of consciousness backed by Vritti is the destroyer of ignorance backed by consciousness. The first one, what we said, Chaitanyam is the destroyer of ignorance backed by Vritti. எப்படி சொல்ல என்னன்னா அவச்சேதவாதமான ஆபாசவாதமான எல்லாம் ignorance போகணும், அவ்வளோதானே. எது சொன்னாலும் என்னென்ன சொன்ன பிரக்ரியா, different பிரக்ரியாஸ். So சாட்சாத் ஹேத்துஹு சைத்தன்யம் சாதகம். Sadhakam means supporter. Iti idam tu avachedavada ritya uttam. Avachedavada people talk like this. Then what? Abhasavada people say like this. Whatever you understand, how much is enough. Don't feel, Swamini, I am not able to understand totally. Totally you cannot understand. This Pratibimbavada, Avachedavada, it takes 20 years to get clarity. Okay. Swamini, we are on the Maramandaya and 20 years edukanna. Maramandaya illa. You are intelligent only, but terms are difficult, that's all. See, when I say Akasha, space, you understood very easily. Because it is available for our perception. But whereas this Atma is not available for perception, you have to understand intellectually, grasp intellectually. That is why there is a difficulty. Slowly, gradually go on listening again and again and again. What is Vishta Chaitanyam? What is Avachinna Chaitanyam? Why Avachinna Chaitanyam they use? Panchadasha Vidyaranya elaborately explained this. Why for Avachedavada? All these are advanced Vedānta teachers and all, they do lot of analysis on this. Namakku chumma enna Avachedavada, Abhasvada purinja podum. Okay, we need not break our head. The reflected consciousness or enclosed consciousness, the consciousness enna paravali ignorance pona pogatum adha avladha namakku vedum illaya. Therefore, next paragraph we read page 61. Abhasavadarityatu samanya chaitanyavat vishecha chaitanyamapi na ajnana virodhi Kintu vritti sahita bhasaha va sahita bhaso va abhasa sahita vritti abhasa sahita vrittir va Ajnana virodhi iti uchyate Ajnana virodhitayochate virodhitayochate virodhitaya uchyate Abhasavada ritya according to Abhasavada. Abhasa means reflection. Those people who talk about reflected consciousness, they don't talk about enclosed consciousness, but they talk about reflected consciousness. What is that? Samanya Chaitanyavat. Samanya Chaitanya means general consciousness. Like general consciousness, Vishesha Chaitanyamapi na Ajnana Virodhi. Even Visishta Chaitanyam is also not Ajnana Virodhi. These people talk about vritti, they give importance. First Vada, Avacheda Vada, they give importance to Chaitanya. Second Abhasavada, they give without vritti, consciousness cannot do anything. Vritti is required. Vritti is primary. Consciousness is supportive. Vritti is main, they say. Kintu vritti sahita abhasaha va. Vritti plus reflected consciousness. RM is thought. RC is reflected consciousness. Both mixed together. Vritti sahita abhasaha. Vritti means thought. Abhasaha means a reflection. Reflection of what? Consciousness. Abhasa means reflected consciousness plus vritti. Where is this reflection happening? In vritti. Vritti means what? Thought. In the antakarananda thought, in that thought, this reflected consciousness, both mixed together. Vritti sahita abhaso va. Abhasa sahita vrittihi va. Whether that is reflected consciousness associated with thought or thought associated with reflected consciousness, that alone can remove ignorance, not anything else. So these people, Abhasavada people, refute the yoga, samadhi abhyasa they do. They want to stop the mind. And stop the mind, I get self-realization. Nothing doing. Without thought, atmakara vritti can never take place. They talk about nirvikalpaka samadhi, andha samadhi, or they talk about nirbija samadhi. What you have to do? And stop your thoughts. They do lot of meditation practices and all. You get self-realization when you stop your mind. When you stop your mind, how can you get self-realization? How is it possible? Without atmakara vritti in the mind, you can never realize the self. You require mind. That's why in yoga they talk about chittam, niruddham. Niruddham means stopping the thoughts. Vedanta is very much against to that. Vritti must be continued. Without vritti, any knowledge is impossible. Therefore he says, Abhasa sahita vrittihi va ajnana virodhitaya uchyate. That alone can remove ignorance. Otherwise your ignorance cannot be removed. So RC, vritti means RM, Abhasa is equal to RC, reflected consciousness. So vritti destroys ignorance backed by Abhasa, reflected consciousness. So our Abhasa destroy ignorance backed by vritti. So pure consciousness is opposed to ignorance. Pure consciousness cannot remove ignorance. It always samanya agnivat. So vritti sahita chaitanyam, that alone removes ignorance. Itham shuddham swayam prakasha swarupa chaitanyam na ajnana virodhi tatascha jnanam swarupa chaitanyamevashritya vartate tena ajnanena avrite atmani bandhadhyaso yujyata eva. So finally Nischala established adhyasa definitely happens. Superimposition is possible. Itham. Like this, as explained above, Shuddham, pure consciousness, Swayam Prakasha Swarupa Chaitanyam. Pure consciousness is not opposed to na ajnana virodhi. It is not opposed to self-ignorance. See, now we have pure consciousness or not. Pure consciousness is there. Why you people are all having ignorance? Pure consciousness cannot remove ignorance. In the mind, that consciousness has to reflect and make that vritti mind sentient. There akhandakara vritti mahavakya jnanam has to take place. And then he gets brahmakara, sakshatkara or brahmakara aparoksha jnanam. Brahma aparoksha jnanam he gets in the antahkaranam. Where jnanam comes in antahkaranam. How vritti dvara? How vritti dvara? Their reflected consciousness is there. In that vritti tattvamasi mahavakya jnanam takes place. In the vritti rupena. Aham brahmasmi is a vritti jnana. Therefore he says, pure chaitanyam is not ajnana virodhi. Tad ajnanam swarupa chaitanyameva ashritya. Tad ajnanam, that ignorance, swarupa chaitanyameva ashritya vartate. What is the adhishtanam for ajnanam? Adhishtanam is swarupa chaitanyam. Ajnanam is resting where na? Swarupa chaitanyam only. Swarupa chaitanyam nada ajnanam irukku. But it cannot destroy ajnanam. Adinale vritti sahita chaitanyam is required to remove ajnanam. Tena ajnanena avrutaha atmani bandhadhyasaha uchyate. So in that Swarupa Atma Chaitanyam there is Ajnanam. That is why we are superimposing. We are superimposing. Next he is going to introduce a very interesting topic in the 98. Just I will read the heading. Atma samanyataha jnataha Visheshataha ajnatascha. If you go on listening these topics, very, very interesting. He says, everybody is having samanya jnanam, everybody is lacking vishesha jnanam. For example, what he want to say, a whole paragraph, just tell you, you contemplate, next class we will see. Idam amsha, there is something I know. Rope is there, person is seeing rope as snake. There is rope is Vishesha Amsha. This is called Idam Amsha, Samanya Amsha. This is, he knows, but he doesn't know it is rope. So Vishesha Amsha Ajnanam is there in twilight, Manda Andhakara. What he is seeing upon that snake, So rope ajnanam is there. Upon rope, what he is superimposing? Snake. This is snake, he says. When he says this is snake, this is snake. In these two statements, one is correct, one is wrong. What is correct, what is wrong? This is correct. அங்கே ஏதோ இருக்கு. அதுக்கப்புறம் ரோப்பா ஸ்னேக்காக தெரியல. அந்த ரோப் பண்ணது he has to know விசேஷ அம்சா. That விசேஷ அம்சா wrongly he takes it as snake. So idam amsha, this is vishishta amsha, vishesh. So idam amsha is there for everyone. Idam, this is there. But idam amsha jnanam is not sufficient. It is partial knowledge. Idam rajjuhu. This is rajju. This is rope only. This is half knowledge. Snake is wrong knowledge. What he did, mixed up. What mixed up? Half knowledge. This is and mixed up snake. This is rope and total knowledge. This is snake is half knowledge. அங்கே ஏதோ இருக்குன்னு தெரியும், என்ன இருக்குன்னு தெரியாது. என்ன இருக்குன்னு தெரியறது வேறு ஏதோ பார்க்குறான். ஸோ இதம் அம்சா இஸ் சாமானிய அம்சா. He says Atma samanyataha gnataha. Everybody knows Atma. I am, நான் இருக்கேன். அது தெரியும். விசேஷதா gnataha or agnataha. They do not know I am Brahman. Everybody knows I am, நான் இருக்கேன் தெரியுமா தெரியாதா? பிரம்மனா இருக்கேன்னு தெரியல. அந்த பிரம்மன் மேலே என்ன போட்டுட்டான்? நான் வைஃபாக இருக்கேன். I am like a husband. I am wife. And the wife like a snake மாதிரி தான். Husbandhood, wifehood, daughterhood, brotherhood, sisterhood, all are like superimposing the snake upon rope. Brotherhood, rope, Brahmana. Brahman. Upon me, the Brahman, I superimpose. I know I am. நான் இருக்கேன்னு தெரியும். ஆனால் பிரம்மனா இருக்கேன்னு தெரியல. விசேஷ அம்சம் தெரியல. இதம் அம்சம் கரெக்டு. நான் இருக்கேன். பட் நான் பிரம்மனா இருக்கேன்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. அதுதான் கஷ்டம். அதனால பார்ஷியல் நாலேஜ் இருக்கா இல்லையா? அது போதும் சூப்பர் இம்போசிஷனுக்கு. ஸோ அத்தியாசம் பாசிபிள்னு சொல்கிறார். நெக்ஸ்ட் வீக் வில் see. பூர்ணமத பூர்ணமிதம் பூர்ணாத் பூர்ணமுதச்யதே பூர்ணஸ்ய பூர்ணமாதாய பூர்ணமேவாவசிஷ்யதே. ஓம் சாந்தி சாந்தி சாந்தி. ஹரி ஓம். ஸ்ரீ குருப்யோ நமஹ. ஹரி ஓம்.